All right, so this video we're going to kind of introduce cosine. And cosine and sine have a lot of similarities. In fact, well, a cosine graph is really just a shifted sine graph, or a sine graph is a shifted cosine graph. They have very, very similar characteristics, but the most curious one is where it starts, okay? So for a sine graph, again, I know both problems are cosine, but for a sine graph, if I didn't even write any numbers, I know it starts at 0, 0. It will come up to 1, down the negative 1, back to 0. That's what a sine graph would look like, okay? But a cosine graph starts here at 1. It actually starts at 0, 1, goes down, then comes back up. Okay? So that's what a cosine graph would do. So with a sine graph, it starts at 0, 0. With a cosine graph, it starts at 0, 1. Okay? Now, and I know that's not an absolute figure, but it's just kind of, for those of us beginning to graph with sine and cosine, that's kind of the easiest way to explain what's happening here. So, the critical point or the starting point would be at 0, 1. Okay? But just like sine, we have to find all the critical points. Okay? So, it's really easy to kind of just start with number 2. So, I'll go back to number 1, but let's talk about number 2. So, cosine of theta plus 1. All right, well, the plus 1 is a vertical shift, which means I'm going to go up 1. Okay? But let's start by just graphing cosine of theta, okay? So cosine of theta, here's 1, here's negative 1, okay? Typically it's pi over 2, here's 0, pi over 2, this is pi, or 2 pi over 2, this would be 3 pi over 2, and this would be 4 pi over 2, okay? So normally it starts at 0, 1, it's going to cross here, hit the bottom there, come back up, and there we go. So that's what cosine would normally look like, okay? But I notice there's a vertical shift up 1. So I need to move all the points up 1 space. So I'll put 2 here. So that's where that goes. This moves up to 1. This moves up to 0. This moves up to 1. And this moves up to 2. So, same graph, just shifted up 1. So there we go. All right? Now, number 1, the first question there is a cosine graph, but it is has not only a vertical shift, which I see there's a minus 1 here, so vertical shift, it's going to go down 1 this time, but I also notice it has a horizontal shift that's going to go to the right pi over 2. Okay, so horizontal shift right to pi over 2, and then vertical shift down 1. All right, so if we were to graph this, okay, it's a cosine graph, so it's going to start here at pi over 2, okay, but it starts up at 1 at pi over 2, because it usually starts at 0, 1, but we moved it over. All right, and now we need to find all the other points here, okay. So if I'm already at pi over 2, in order to get to the next critical point, I add pi over 2. Oh, already common denominator, sweet. So 1 plus 1, that's going to be 2 pi over 2. Okay, which is actually going to be right here, right? So this is 1 pi over 2, here's 2 pi over 2. It's working out nicely. Okay. All right, and then again we add pi over 2 to this, which gives me 3 pi over 2. Okay. So at 3 pi over 2, it's down here at negative 1. Okay. Add another pi over 2, that gives me 4 pi over 2. Okay, and 4 will be here, back at 0. Okay, and then we add another pi over 2, which will give me 5 pi over 2. And there's 5 pi over 2 right here, and we'll put it right here. So my graph would look like this if there were no vertical shift. But I need to go down 1, that's what it says. Okay. So every point needs to go down 1. So this 1 comes down to 0. This 0 comes down to negative 1. This negative 1 comes down to negative 2. This 0 comes down to 1. And this 1 comes down to 0. So there's my cosine graph with a shift to the right pi over 2 and down negative 1. So hopefully this makes a lot more sense. The key part about cosine is that its normal graph when it starts, its cycle begins at 0, 1.